On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
I would rather just have to remove myself from the relationship and
Okay,
just being
okay, Nix.
honest.
Okay, Nix. If the role was reversed and it happened to you, like how would you feel? If she said, I can't deal with that, I'm leaving this motherfucker. How would you feel?
I would kind of encourage her. Live your life.
Welcome to Lapeef, Let's Talk. We on to our final topic, which is my spouse has a serious health condition. Is it okay to step out? My spouse has a serious health condition. Is it okay to step out? I had this conversation with somebody, and I was quite disturbed a little bit because I know how I am, and it was quite interesting to hear their take on it. So I was having a conversation with a woman, and they stated to me that if somebody had a serious health condition, that they should be able to step out because they have needs. I disagree with it because I feel as though if you take a vow, it's a different story if you guys are just in a relationship. But if you're in a marriage, it's like two death do us part. So until that person exits the earth, out of body experience, then I'm gonna be there 100%. So I disagree with the fact that if somebody is sick, just because you have needs, it doesn't excuse you to be able to go and step out. But I kind of wanted to talk about this. I think that this is a conversation that needs to be had, and I absolutely want to hear you guys' opinions about it. So I'm going to start with you, Kia. How do you feel about that? My spouse has a serious health condition. Is it okay to step out?
No, it's not. I'm a loyal person, and if I commit to something like that, regardless of situation, I'll commit it. It does change the relationship. We have to be honest because it changes from like a marriage relationship to almost companion relationship. Sex is very important. You know, you almost become a caretaker in that sense if they really sick like that, or if they have erectile dysfunction. So I mean, um, that happens in a relationship, of marriage, and that's what you kind of sign up for. So it'll be unfortunate, but it's just something you have to deal with. You have to get some toys or whatever, but you can't step out.
All right. Tawana, how you feel about that? My spouse has a serious health condition. Is it okay to step out?
I mean, you know, no, it's not okay to step out on your relationship.
But
However, this is what I will say is that if that is the case, right? And somebody's got some health defects, you and your partner like need to really seriously talk about that. If sex is like a huge priority in your relationship, that could be a huge issue. It could be something that eventually, will lead to the separation. And I don't know how strong the bond is. And I'm saying that we're being realistic and saying that most people need to have sex in those relationships. And like some people cannot commit to a lifetime of no sex, and some people can't commit to years of no sex. So I'm being realistic in understanding that that other person may have needs that I'm not going to be able to fulfill for whatever reason. So what is it that we're going to do to get through that? If we talk about toys, then we talk about toys. We talk about getting a, robot, whatever we talk about, that's what needs to happen because they at least acknowledge that I'm going to have those needs and that is something that I'm going to be missing, right? In this relationship. And if it's short term, that's different. Obviously, stick through it, right? Because it's short term, you understand. And then there's things, and are you doing everything? Like I know someone who has a serious issue, but the problem is that he eats like crap and he doesn't work out and he has a lot of issues. The things that the doctor is actually telling him to do, he doesn't do it. And so his wife is like, look, are you going to do these things? Like, are you going to work out? Are you going to eat these things? Are you going to get healthy so that you can get to a place where we can have sex again? But this person is refusing to do that. So how long does she stick it out and wait on him to make an effort to, he doesn't understand how important that is in a relationship. And I do think that it just comes to those decisions. Like I know realistic things where it's happening to people. And I'm like, she's sticking it out, right? She's being faithful and she doesn't want to step out on him. But eventually, what's going to happen? Because he is refusing to get better and to get healthy. And so sometimes it's different things that affect your libido or your sex life that it is within your control that your partner refused to do. So I do think that there's some circumstances that are totally different, and realistically, it could separate people. Do I think that it's okay to step out? No. I do think it's a conversation that you all need to have, though, and be realistic about, hey, this is how we're going to handle this. So.
Well, you guys do understand that our bodies don't last forever. I mean, that's with men and women. And so, when you take that vow, I kind of keep that in mind that there's always the possibility. Some people do have higher sex drives than others, but I still think that if you make that vow, you have to consider the unknown. Anything can happen, a car accident, a serious health condition, anything. So just moving forward, if you take that step, that person might not be able to be the same person that they were 15, 10 years, 5 years ago. Something can come up.
Even after kids or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, even after kids, like those hormones change for some reason.
Yeah, they do.
Like before, you wanted it multiple times. Now it's just like you like a one hit and quit. Like, have you came yet?
But JR, what if your relationship started off very sexual, hot and heavy? Like you having sex all the time, and then boom, it's a dramatic change, right? So, and you're still within your you're not older, which is understandable. You're still young, maybe in your 40s, maybe in your 50s, where you could still have a good sex life. What happens?
Well, me personally, I understand that. When I was younger, I knew I did have a higher sex drive, and then I understand like the dynamics of women, different stages. There's always these myths that happen, but a woman can have a high sex drive in her 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. There isn't any clear fact on when they can have that sex drive, but it does happen. So I understand like the dynamics of what's going on, but I also understand how it can start off like that, and then it can just be kind of slow. But what else are you guys going to base your relationship off of? Because if you lead with sex, then that's what's going to happen. And just once the sex is stopped, then you're going to go out and step out. You're going to go out and cheat. So I just think it's just really important to understand what type of relationship that you do have or that you guys are in. Because if it's just sexual, then it's just going to be sexual. But if you guys are looking for the long haul and want to build, and you guys you guys love and commitment is bigger than sex, then you guys are going to thrive moving forward. So I think I want to get who haven't I talked to? Anton, how do you feel about?
You can go to B next first. I'd love to get B next and stay first.
My spouse has a serious health condition. Is it okay to step out? Your thoughts?
Nah, it's not okay to step out, but I admit I do got a caveat. Like, what illness is it? Because I think I'm particular about like what type of illness.
Well, from a guy, it can be,
don't even answer. I got one for you. Okay, so the thing is, I truly feel like, hey, I'm a loyal person. Hey, I'm here for it, right? But if my spouse has a mental illness, I got an issue. And I think that we can't go in assuming that everybody in a relationship is built the same way, that's able to have the bandwidth and mental energy to be able to still be in a relationship. The thing is, should they step out? No. But I think that folks do need to have a conversation, and maybe if there's even a separation. Because I think that you don't do that person true service to the relationship if you're sitting up here saying that you're loyal, but yet you don't want to be loyal but this life happens. I just know for me, I would have to leave. If there's a mental illness, I know I can't do it. And the thing is, even if Toy and I, whether we've had this type of conversation or not, I know for me, this is something that is one of those like non-negotiable things. Of course, I'm not reading the comments like you are, Anton. I'm sure I may be a jerk or all type of things. We all got our own reasons.
You might be the most hated person.
We all got our own personal background. Huh?
I said you might be the most hated person after this topic. I want to ask you something. So,
but I get it.
Hold on, let me ask him this. Okay,
well, I wasn't done, but you can still ask me the question.
Okay, yeah, just to follow up, and then I'm gonna let you finish. If your wife, and God forbid this, let's just say a severe car accident or something like that, and she's not the same. So you saying that you wouldn't be able to deal with that?
Yeah, I would. I said mental illness is what I would not.
Well, I mean, well, like when you say mental illness, I mean things can happen, brain trauma, things can happen. So she's not
right.
the
that
same
all
person
falls
that
under
she
the
was.
Umbrella of mental illness. And I can't.
Okay.
I answer your question, so can I finish?
No mental illness. Everything else is all right. But mental illness, you're done.
Hey, that shit gave me the chills right now. Yeah, go ahead and finish your.
It's fact.
Listen, you know what self-induced diseases are an issue for me. Like if you eat like trash and you are unhealthy because of that, like I have a hard time empathizing with people like that. So I'm saying, because I feel like you can do things to change that. Like you can exercise, you can do that. So I get what you're saying, but I don't know if I would leave the person. But I do have a hard time with just like, having some empathy. Like, yeah, I feel like you're doing this.
I don't want to be in between.
I mean,
people
like,
always
all this
play
history,
this game
all
of
this
trying
time
to be
y'all
in
been
between,
together.
trying to be
That's the
fake there
deciding
for
factor.
them, and then they really not mentally there. I would rather just have to remove myself from the relationship and just be honest.
Okay, Nix. If the role was reversed and it happened to you, like how would you feel? If she said, I can't deal with that, I'm leaving this motherfucker. How would you feel?
I would kind of encourage her. Live your life. Like I said earlier, think about it. I'm so serious. The thing is, we said out of obligation, right? Last show, I have a thing about obligation, transact. There are some sticking points that y'all know that I have. This is one of those. I don't want anyone with me out of obligation. I would rather somebody go forth, live their life. I don't need someone out of sympathy. I'm not saying we can't be cool. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I got beef with you. But the thing is, I would rather someone, if I know that I have this
if you break it down, I can understand if they don't want to be there. But I'm just saying,
I'm telling them that's their choice. But
I'm telling you,
go forward. Yeah, don't do this dance. We all do this. We're like, oh well, you tell me. No, I'm out the gate. This is something that I would like to say to whoever I'm with, which I am with someone, but I'm very clear about the expectation on how I feel. The thing is, I would rather them go forward, live their life. I don't want someone to just be hanging around trying to still live their life with, halfway in my world, or halfway saying, man, I wish I coulda, woulda, shoulda, go on trips like I used to. The thing is, we're all on this earth for a certain period of time. We all got an expiration date. And the thing is, I truly feel folks need to fulfill their life to the best of their ability. I don't want anyone with me out of obligation or out of pity. If they want to stay,
people say they will do it, but most people don't stay in those relationships.
Yeah, let's be honest. Like, what's the name? B. Scott. I think that was the name, right? B. Scott, where her husband moved the person into the house while she had the terminal illness.
That's right.
And stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Why go through the trouble? Just leave. Just separate.
I have a personal experience where they were together 17 years and she was diagnosed with something, and I don't want to say because it might give away who the person is, but she was diagnosed with something, and the husband was like, I'm not attracted to you anymore. Like he was like through her sickness, he did not want to be involved with her. He didn't want to deal with her anymore. And she ended up getting well and started looking exactly like herself, but he left her because of the temper. Like she was sick for maybe 5 or 6 years, but she really ended up, just striving and doing better. But he couldn't stick it out through that time. So I'm saying, if you say that, we'd be like, yes, we're going to stay and we're going to stick it out. But people don't do that. It's like, it's just all a theory and what
right. And the thing is, folks talk about being transparent, being authentic. That's a real situation. And the thing is, can I now, and Javar, can I give context on why I feel the way I feel?
Hold on, before you say that, let me ask you this. Let me ask you about the vow that you took to death do us part. That vow, how does that play in your decision on leaving? I mean, does it not matter anymore because it's all about you?
Give me the scenario. Is it a fact I'm sick or she's sick?
She's sick. Like you said, that if she wasn't the same person that you married, if she's not in the mental capacity to be able to function in that marriage, how she the same way that you met her, that you will leave. So you took a vow and you said to death do us part. So how does that play in your decision? Because it seems like when you went to the altar, it was a lie. You know,
I get that, but let's be honest. I know for a fact that's something I cannot deal with. I can't. Everybody doesn't have the capacity and the bandwidth and the grit to be able to deal with certain situations. For me, mental illness, that's a sticking point with me. So that's why I know for a fact I would rather leave. And the thing is, I know that we all made vows, but you know what? People get divorced all the time for like really some trivial reasons. This would be a real one. So the thing is, that would be something I would have to step away, or I would rather her step away from me. And the thing is, people divorce all the time and they're still cordial. That's fine. I'm not saying that it's one of those like out of, oh, you did this to me, but that's one of those that like I can't deal.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it to a bunch of people on here that technically don't know me. But the thing is, that's truly how I feel. Now, can
That's
I
your
give
deal
context?
breaker. But I'm going to say that there are quite a people. I know people personally who have not had sex in over 10 years because their mate could not have sex. Now they're older.
Oh.
But that person had cancer, and sometimes when a man has diabetes, and they take medication, it tends to affect them downstairs. You know what I'm saying? So they just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
it is just not something that they don't want to. It's either take my medication or let's keep it real. This is a real thing. That's why they have all these different aids and what's that, Viagra and all that other stuff to help
Hey,
downstairs. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, true.
It's real talk. It's a serious thing. And so for me, if you say you're going to do something, you may just say, if you don't think you're going to be able to do it through thick and thin, and I understand that's your deal breaker, but I just kind of feel like for me, stay single. Like I'm single. You know what I'm saying? I know what I can and cannot deal with. You know what I'm saying? I know what I cannot deal with. So that may be something that you want to, think about. But you already married, so or in a relationship, whatever you are in. So that's kind of hard. Like if you know going in, I have a deal breaker, something like that, because like JR said, you can have situations that occur that you never planned to happen, and you're supposed to roll with those punches, I guess.
But people don't though.
I know people
Yeah,
that do.
and people don't all the time. You're absolutely
People
right,
don't.
Kia. And we all,
Hey.
everybody on here and on the audience are all individuals. We all
Yeah.
have our deal breakers, whether we admit to it or not. Or
Yeah.
honestly, we don't even know it's a deal breaker until we're presented with the situation. And that's when it really
Yeah.
goes back to your level of grit and perseverance.
Yeah.
Everybody is not built the same way. So we can't assume a cookie cutter approach that what Tawana does is the same thing that Kia does is the
That's
same
true.
thing that Anton does.
Yeah,
So I
that's
think
so
it's
true.
really about folks being straightforward and honest. And Tawana, you mentioned having the conversation.
Right.
It may be not severe or it may be terminal. We have different aspects of the illness and the impact it has on the relationship.
I mean, can we truly say what we would do unless you're actually faced with the situation? You don't know. I think you say that your intentions is to stick it out and to stay with the person and to be by their side. But I have been through experiences where it's like people completely change and flip and do something totally different, and it's like I thought she would be this person, but then you're not. So how do you truly know? I mean, I do think that we got to be realistic. So I do agree with what D Nick's is saying, like be realistic in what he's saying is his deal breaker, right? Where mental health might not be an issue for me because I'm okay with that, but it could be an issue for other people for other reasons in their lives, so
absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anton, I think you was next, even though Jabari never gave me the space to give context, but I'll let you go. And then I give context on why I feel the way I feel.
I was just ready to go to him. Hold on, I think something might happen with his camera. I'll give him 1 second. But yeah, Nick, that was quite deep. I mean, I guess it's real. I mean, I guess you don't want to live a lie.
We're all giving real answers, so I want to think that we're all giving real answers.
No, it's all good. Hey, Anton, now we to you. My spouse has a serious health condition. Is it okay to step out? Your thoughts?
I'm not. I believe your word is everything. Like it's everything. It's the only thing that you have in this life that you can truly, that goes with you no matter where it is that you go. And I don't believe in stepping out is for that reason. Like Let me just be clear. I don't believe in divorce. And I don't think it's anything that you can't come back from, because there's always going to be circumstances and things that happen in a marriage that, you didn't plan for. But the whole thing, that for me personally, I took my vows seriously. And I just don't believe, I truly believe in till death do us part, in sickness and health, for better and for worse. And so for me, that's never, ever, the only thing that I would ever consider getting divorced for is if you don't want to be there. Because I'm not going to hold anybody against their will. However, yo, that's the time I'm ratting for you the hardest. When something go wrong, or it's the most critical situation, or you may be incapacitated in some form. Yo, I'm here to take care of you. I'm here to make sure you straight. It ain't nobody in the world that's gonna love you harder than I am. So I'm going to be the person to ensure you are in your greatest space, and you in your most comfortable space. And I gotta ensure that you taken care of. Like, that's the time that I'm most selfless. I have to ensure that you are in the best space possible. You taken care of. I like that's it for me. Like, that's the whole purpose of this lifetime relationship that we built. Is it's not gonna be perfect, and that's the thing that's gonna make it awesome. I think that the best relationships are the ones where things go horribly wrong, and you figure it out and you stick it out, or you ensure that this person is taken care of. I don't think that relationships are awesome, or the most awesome, just because things have always gone right, and they've been in this ideal space. So you riding with them, so you riding the wave and all of that. No, I think the best parts of the relationship is the parts that you overcome, is the parts that you ensure is taking. Like, I'm with you forever, yo. And things gonna happen, and we gonna make mistakes, and you gonna do stuff, and I'm gonna do stuff, or whatever. But when when it really hits the road and things really happen, we in all day long. I am riding with you forever, and it ain't nothing that nobody can say that will ever take me away from you in a space to where I feel like I have to live my best life possible at your detriment when you need me the most. That's the time I'm with you. I'm all in. I'm on your team, and I just believe in loyalty to that extent. I love you that much. Now let me show you when it really matters. I'm never leaving my chick or stepping out when she's at her lowest. I don't care if she can't find out about it. That's the time that I'm gonna be the most dedicated. That's just who I am. I don't believe in that. I believe so hard in my vows, and in a way to where it's just unfathomable for me to ever think about possibly leaving you when you in that space. That's just how I rock.
All right, so Anton, you said that it's not okay to step out.
No.
Kia, you said it's not okay to step out.
Right.
Tawana, you said it's not okay to step out, right?
Absolutely not.
And next, you saying that it's not okay to step out, but it's okay to exit. Right, Nix?
I don't think it's okay to step out, so that's why I think
Right,
that
right.
you
So I
are.
say
You
you
just need to
right.
go
You
on
said
the
it's okay
right.
to exit. Now I want to ask you this: is there anything that anybody said on a panel tonight to make you like reconsider that thought, or is it just
Not
does
at
it just
all.
stand?
Yeah.
My mind. I mean, it's my thought. It's my perspective.
Hmm.
I feel how I feel. But
Hmm.
I'm gonna do the segue for myself since you didn't give me the alley oop. The whole context on how I feel this way is really like, hey, I grew up in a household with mental illness. My mom's had mental illness since I was in fourth grade, right? So what's that, like maybe like 10, 11 years old, something like that. To this day, I'm still her payee. I pay all her bills. I have to do the doctor's appointment, all of that. I've done that since a adolescent through adulthood. That's the only reason I moved back to Chicago was because of her. I mean, I'm not upset about it, but I just know everything that goes through that for, every step of my life. I've
Yeah.
had to deal with that. She has schizophrenia, paranoid type. So the thing is, we're talking about things that don't make sense, you know, talking to walls, phone calls, calling the police, thinking somebody after, talking to
Yeah.
yourself, all that. So the thing is, I know firsthand of my personal experience. So I know that's something that and it sounds bad, but it's the truth. because we
Yeah.
care about perception. But I just know I couldn't go through that again. I
Yeah.
Right.
went through that my entire life because we always talk about the person with the illness. We never give support of the people who have to support people with
Right.
illness, whether it's
Yeah.
mental or physical. We all have
Yeah.
these support groups for the person who's going that has the cancer. We
Yeah.
never give support to the people who have to support the person friends with cancer or friends with mental health.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
aspect that is totally mentally draining. And I know that that's just something going back to being built for certain things. Hey, I can't have a round two of it. I'm
Mm.
still dealing with this right now. My mom's just turned 73 on December 3rd, right? And I'm probably doing
Happy
not the
belated
best of
birthday to
job
her.
to be able to support her, but it's the gift and the curse of being the only child. But going into a relationship, I would rather, if I was to get have a mental illness, I would rather just kind of like, hey, I don't want nobody to go through that. And I think that if we all look at our former selves, if we were to pass away and to say something that we got sick, if I love my person, I would say, you know what, go live your life. We still friends. We're cool. There's no beef. But just
Right.
go and enjoy whatever life, whatever years you got left. And I'm not saying you can't still support me. You can't still take care of me. You don't have to be married to do that. But I would rather just not be with someone or have them be with me out of obligation. If they want to stay, cool, right? You can't make people do what they don't want to do. But I know
Right.
for me, that's a tough pill for me to swallow. And I
Yeah.
would rather just be open and honest about it as opposed to living in both worlds like people try to do. They say they're
But
not
look,
going to do it, but yet they do it.
what if she want to stay? Is that okay? What if she wants to stay with you and she doesn't want to leave and
Oh,
that's
I'm gonna be
wants to
fighting,
be
but
that
I
support?
fight everybody. I fight y'all on this show every week,
You're
so I'm
gonna
a
make
fighter.
her. You're gonna force her to leave. You're gonna
Hey,
make her
I'm
leave.
I'm stubborn. I'm not really rah rah, but I'm stubborn, and this is all of me that comes along with it. So imagine me being sick
Well, why not
Yo,
just
being
allow
stubborn.
her
let
to
me.
date others?
I mean, but I don't know. I just don't understand it, and I'm not saying that you're
It's not for
wrong
you to
or
understand,
anything like
brother.
that.
It's my opinion.
It's your experience.
It's
Let
my
me
truth.
finish. Let me finish what I'm saying now.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jr., don't jump in. 'Cause I know how you are.
I
So
don't. I don't understand. I can't fathom it, and I understand what you're saying. I can't. I can't imagine because everything that we do, and let's just say in a marriage or a relationship, is supposed to be led with love. Like, and so my thing is, if love is selfless, so for me, it's almost like I gotta be there at your work. And again, I haven't experienced what you've experienced as it relates to taking care of your mother. So I'm not judging you or I'm not using your situation as the jump off point to evaluate or say what it is that I'm saying. I'm just saying in my specific situation, I can't imagine, like I wouldn't even be able to live a fulfilled life or have fun thinking about what it is that she's going through without me. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like that's not enjoyment. That's not living my life. And I don't really like I don't want to do the funnest things in life without the person that I built it with. You know what I'm
I get
saying?
that,
So it's
Anton.
almost
But
like it's just I'd rather not do it
this is the reason why
than do
people
it
step
alone.
out too, because of everything you said, because they want to fulfill their life. They want to do all the fun things that they used to do. So the thing is, we can't sit up here and say that when someone has a terminal illness, that they could really have true fulfillment in life because of this barrier. Let's be real. I mean, in life we want to say that things will work itself out. Things don't. Some things just don't work itself out. And I know that Jabari, hey, I'm sorry I brought like a very heavy topic and kind of like just mic dropped it into this show tonight. But hey, I'm giving my opinion. It's me being honest about how I feel. Anything else, I get it. I started this by saying I'm loyal. I want to stay true to what my relationship and what I'm about. But I just know that's the one thing, and that's always been my thing with like a lot of things that I do. It's the whole reason I went to school for this. Like I built my, like, you ever notice all my concepts, like we talked about the growth mindset? That's positive psychology. Everything I talk about on this show is from a psychological perspective. So the thing is, that's how I live my life from that lens. So for me, that's
Yeah.
my truth. That's my perspective.
Hey,
And I
hey,
Yeah,
respect
Nix,
that. I
go
respect
ahead.
that. I mean,
me too. I respect it.
I
Hey,
understand it. It's like a life sentence, and I understand it.
Yeah,
hey, Nix, I just want to say this. I appreciate you for being honest because
me too.
I don't want us to all have the same perspective. I think that there is
Hmm.
somebody out there that might have similar thoughts as you. So I appreciate us having this discussion. Um, One thing about this show is I hope to bring value. You don't have to agree with everybody, but I hope somebody can be able to take something from this show. So I do hope it does bring value, insight, have you thinking in a different perspective, maybe helping a certain aspect of your life. And I want to go ahead and close this out by asking you guys individually if it was some advice that you would give somebody in this situation, what it would be. And I want to start with you, Kia. If you somebody that's having these thoughts right now, like my spouse is in a serious has a serious health condition, and they may be thinking about stepping out.
Come
Like,
on.
what advice would you be able to give them?
Well, I mean, like Tawana said, I have multiple friends who are in basically sexless relationship and they're females. And it just basically they have become complacent. It's the difference between becoming comfortable versus I can't. So if you're comfortable and you're not willing to try and work on fixing this, and this is like I said to me, sex is the obligation in a marriage, and if you're not trying to fulfill that agreement that we had when we it's like a contract like when we had then that's a different story than I can't or I'm not I want to but I'm not able to. Now if you're not able to and that person's just not able to, then I just really suggest that you if he don't even want to do stuff with you, um but there are a lot of things out there to satisfy yourself. Do what you have to do, but you made a commitment to be that person mate, and it's not their fault. We're talking about, there's nothing they can do to control that situation. It's your job, and to me, and your obligation to still be there through thick and thin for that person.
Okay. But next, I know we just spoke with you, and I know your perspective is different from Kia's. But if you had to give somebody some advice based on how you feel about their spouse that has a serious health condition and they're thinking about stepping out, what would that advice be?
It's really simple. I'm gonna take what Tawana said, having a conversation and just being honest, man. I think that if this is your ride or die person, it's just a matter of y'all really talking through things. And like I said, that's my perspective about my situation. It's mine, no one else's. But the thing is, overall, if I'm passing it forward, hey, be on like what the same thing I'm doing with y'all tonight. Just be honest about how you feel about the situation. I think that a lot of times people flip flop on how what they tell their spouse, and then they go tell either a side person or a friend saying I can't do this, but yet then they go back home and then sing a different song. I don't, if this is your ride or die, even the good, the bad, the ugly, you just gotta talk. And that's the thing. We're talking about, something that's very serious that
Mm-hmm.
has implications or not just, the people in that relationship, but family, extended family, if y'all have children, all those different things. So I think that's something that I would encourage anyone just to be able to talk through. Even for Anton, you always talk about finances and planning and being the CEO of your family. This is something that really this makes a break, like the sustainability of not just your family right now, but the future. So I would just say, just to be honest and have a conversation. I think just from my perspective, is my perspective. So I'm not saying that someone needs to do what I need to do, but we've all seen or seen in the media of people who have a terminal illness, and then we hear about them stepping out. You know, that's my thing. I wouldn't want to step out, but the thing is, if you're gonna do that, just go on and just be honest about I can't deal. The thing is,
Right.
people view it that it's like, oh, you're weak, or you lost, or you're a low person. Hey, if you got to do all this behind the scenes, I would think that you could be more truthful with your spouse about just saying, hey, I need help too,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't
Hmm.
cope with this. And
Right.
everybody, I learned this from my pops. He always say, everybody ain't built the same way. So I appreciate what something that like Anton said. I support it fully. But I can't sit up here and say like, oh yeah, I gotta be like Anton. I gotta be true to myself. on what I can and can't withstand.
Okay. I'm going to answer that question. Anton, I'm coming to you next after my response, but um, I think that vow is something very serious. I think that whatever comes along, that you should stick around. However, I do respect be next honesty, because that's one thing that a lot of people want in relationships and marriages, if for somebody to be honest. So if they're not being honest, then they're just living a lie. So I respect it. Be next decision on just telling his wife that he would just prefer to leave, because then at the end of the day, whoever's in that situation is going to respect that individual because they was at least honest. They may not like the answer, they may not like what's about to happen after that, but at least he was honest. So Anton, I'm going to come to you next. My spouse has a serious relationship, a serious health condition. Is it okay to step out? Final thoughts. What advice would you give somebody who's in that situation?
Yo, love them harder. Ride it out. Love them harder. Remember why you got into the relationship. It wasn't just for the good. It was because, you want somebody to be there for you in the same way that you would be there for them. And so the thing that you have to exhibit, the biggest blessings in life come from the fact that you are a better person to other people than you think that they would be to you. Like, be the anchor, be true love. Like, love is beyond what we define it as it relates to relationships, simply because we're in a relationship with somebody. Like, true love is loving them at their worst, is being there for them and assisting them in ways that they didn't know that they were worthy of, as it relates to love. Like, if you're in this circumstance and you're in this situation and you feeling discouraged, understand that the blessings that come along with it are magnified according to what you put out there. Karma is real. How you treat people is real, and the way that you love God. And I hate to even get spiritual on this, but the only way you can show you love God is the way you love the people that He put on this earth. That's the only way you can show that you love God. It don't matter how much you pray. It don't matter how much you know what I'm saying, shout in church. It don't matter how many people you say you got their back. The only true way that you can show that you love God is by loving the people that He put on this earth around you for you to impact in a positive way. That's the advice that I would give to people personally.
Okay. And lastly, Tawana, I want you to go ahead and take us home with this. My spouse,
I
go
think.
ahead. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Spouse has a serious health condition. Is it okay to step out? What advice would you give someone that's listening right now?
I think I want to go into the lens of the caregiver, because, as Venus said, which I resonated with, we often forget about the stress that they encounter. And I want to come from the perspective of, I know it's tough, I know it's difficult, I know you're going through something that no one else understands and we can't fully relate to, but it's so much that's necessary for you to do to help that person get to that next level. And I think we miss that. We often don't see the end of it and the success of it and the hard work pay off, but that person needs you more than anything. And so when you think about just what you're sacrificing and what you're losing out on, also think about what that person is missing out on and losing out on as well. And just try your best to push through and get as much support as you need. Reach out for family, get support. I think sometimes people try to do it by themselves, and that is often difficult as well. I think you do need support, and sometimes you have to ask siblings, friends, family, help me out. Let me get a day, where I do something. Take some time for yourself, self care. Don't neglect yourself. Don't stay focused on that. Make sure that you stay healthy so that you can be the best person for that person.
Okay. All right. I appreciate you guys' perspectives and conversation. I want to give a special thanks for everybody that's tuned in tonight and for the people that's going to watch later. Without you guys, we would not be where we are now. So we appreciate all the love and feedback. I want to say thank you, Kia, for coming in and joining us tonight. It has been such a delightful
Come back,
experience.
come back, come back.
Yeah, definitely come back. We appreciate you. And Tawana,
Thank you
be
guys
next
for
I
having
know
another
me.
you
time.
could take
Yeah.
Jabari's job.
And Anton be next, and Tawana. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. You guys are such a blessing to this platform. And we're gonna end it on that note, man. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Lapeef Let's Talk. And you guys in the Facebook group, we don't forget about you guys. You guys are active. Please remember to keep being respectful, and we appreciate everything you guys are doing for that platform as well. Until next time, we out.